The pre-chorus of a song is not what you think it is.
If we asked most people what a pre-chorus is, fair chance they'd say it's that bit just before the chorus, right?
But it's not.
It's not?
No.
What is it?
It is the bit that creates tension before the chorus. And while that might sound pedantic, it actually makes all the difference to whether or not a pre-chorus is functioning as a pre-chorus should. Because if our pre-chorus is building tension, it means that our chorus is going to land with more impact. It's going to land harder and heavier and be a lot more banging if that's what we want from our chorus.
Nice.
So in this series of videos, we are going to talk about ways to create tension in that bit before the chorus that we like to call the pre-chorus. In this video, we're going to talk about using chords to create tension in the pre-chorus. And to really summarize where we're going here, the technique is to avoid the tonic chord in your pre-chorus. Now, in order to understand what we're talking about, we actually need to dial back a minute and talk about what the tonic chord is and what it even means to avoid the tonic.
So the tonic chord is our home chord. And when we're writing in a particular key, that home chord serves this really specific function, which is to create a tremendous sense of resolution or rest. Because when you come back to the home chord, everything feels stable, everything feels solid. It's the key we're in. And so landing back on it gives you that sense of stability. But what if we don't want that sense of stability? What if we don't want to have the tonic giving us that sense of resolution?
Exactly. What if we're in a moment in the song form where, quite contrary to wanting to create stability and sense of resolution, our job is to create tension? And so understanding that the chords in a key are not all built equally, they have different roles to play, actually means that we can start to construct the story of our song through the choice of chords in a key. And when we understand what the chord is that creates stability, we can also avoid that chord in moments where our job is to create the story of tension, which is really, as we talked about, what we're trying to do with the pre-chorus.
And if you're interested in learning more about the functions and relationships of chords, there's a video I made that really breaks it down in a diatonic system and really explains what this sense of home and departure means when we're talking about different chords.
So let's dive in and look at some song examples that employ this technique really beautifully, where we see the tonic chord in the verse and often it returns in the chorus, but that pre-chorus very deliberately avoids the tonic and creates this beautiful sense of tension that then resolves and makes that chorus land with so much more power and impact. So the first song I want to look at is the song Spirit by Beyoncé.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah, yeah, and the wind is talking. Yeah, yeah, for the very first time. With a melody that pulls you towards it, painting pictures of paradise. Saying, rise up to the light in the sky. Watch the light lift your heart up, burn your flame through the night. Whoa, Spirit, watch the heavens are open. Yeah, Spirit. So let's talk a little bit about the chord progression in that song, because we do need to know what happens in the verse in order to understand how it is contrasting and creating tension in the pre-chorus, right? Okay, so will you just play the verse progression for us?
3, 4,
Okay, so this is in the key of F major, and the chord progression that Benny has played is F major, C major, D minor, B flat major. Okay, so in the key of F, what we have here is what is also known as like the magic progression. And there's lots of videos made that you can find elsewhere on the internet about this magic progression. The thing that I want us to actually focus on is that it starts on the tonic, right? So this chord progression starts on the one chord of the key, F major. So it very clearly establishes the home of the key, the home center, the tonal center. So then let's see what happens in the pre-chorus. So play the pre-chorus for us. chords are B flat major, D minor, C major, and then we actually get this cool A7 chord. Now that is a non-diatonic chord, which I'm not actually going to talk about here other than to say it's not the tonic. You know what I mean? What I want you to notice here is there is no F major chord in this progression. They are avoiding the home chord, avoiding the tone of most stability and resolution. And then what is the first chord of the chorus? F major. So here we have it again. And let me tell you a cool little anecdote, all right? So one of my songwriting teachers at Berkeley was a guy called Jack Perricone, who's written a great book called Great Songwriting Techniques, in which he calls this technique the gold coin magic trick. And this whole story, or this whole idea of the gold coin magic trick, is like a magician's trick with kids where they bring out the shiny gold coin and everyone's like, ooh, or the kids are like, look at that gold coin. The gold coin is the tonic, right? So you bring out the tonic chord, you wave it around, and then you do this and it disappears. And all the kids go crazy. All the kids are like, where did the gold coin go? And it builds tension. And the magician is like, I don't know, where's the gold coin? And then they go, here it is again. And all the children go wild, right? Because the gold coin has come back. And it's the tension of the gold coin disappearing for a moment that creates that deep satisfaction of having it return. So taking the tonic away, hiding it behind your back, and then bringing it back in the chorus is a beautiful way to use chords to build tension in the pre-chorus. And then especially if you then land on that tonic as your first chord of the chorus, it makes that chorus feel big and impactful and powerful. And so if you're looking to write a chorus with that level of impact, knowing how to build up to it and create that tension is so important.
It's also really satisfying when you land on the home chord or the tonic after you've stayed away from it for a while. It's so satisfying because we have to remember the reason we're creating tension. We've been talking a lot about creating tension. The whole point of creating tension is so you can release the tension. You know, you can't have any release without building the tension. And so there's this lovely, you know, double act that happens with tension and release. And the longer you stay away from the home chord, the more satisfying it's going to be when you finally return to it.
Shall we look at one more song example from another singer who I'm going to do a massive disservice to by trying to sing their song?
Sure.
Let's look at an Adele song.
Oh.
What am I
Your
doing?
voices sound great.
The Adele song, Someone Like You.
3, 4, and...
I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Yeah, she gave you things I didn't give to you. Oh, friend, why are you so shy? I'd like you to hold back or hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I hoped you'd see my face, that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. So this song's chord progression is quite similar actually to the Beyoncé chord progression in that the verses chord progression starts on that tonic chord. Will you play the verses chord progression? So what have we got?
An A. A C sharp minor over G sharp.
Okay, so it's like a 3 minor over its 5.
Relative minor, F sharp minor. 4 chord D.
And so the most important thing to recognize there is, again, we get that tonic chord as our first chord, establishing home in the strongest position of a bar. You know, there we have it, tonic chord. Okay, so let's have a look at the chord progression of the pre-chorus.
So then the pre-chorus goes to the 5 chord, the E chord, to the F sharp minor again, the 6 chord, and then the 4 chord.
Okay, great. And it kind of cycles through that more or less. Again, F sharp minor, and then to the 4 chord. And then it kind of holds that for an extra 2 beats, which also does something for the pre-chorus, right? It actually destabilizes it and makes it non-symmetrical, which also creates these extra 2 beats of instability. But all of that is an aside, because what I really want to focus on here is there's no tonic chord, right? It's that gold coin magic trick. It's waving around the gold coin in the verse and then hiding it in the pre-chorus, right? With these chords of tension, not chords of stability. And when you build that tension, the ear of a listener is away from home, right? It's building this tension, and then when you give them that gold coin back as the first chord in the chorus, which is exactly what happens in this song, just like the Beyoncé song, it's so satisfying. So let me show you a quick example from a song that I recently wrote that's going to be released on an audiobook being published later this year. This is a song called Another Map.
Here inside these quiet moments, love seems simple in every single way. I make it complicated, unwind. I roll back the movie reel to the day you were born, when I thought, how the hell do I do this right? And I swore love is the only answer, love is the only plan, love is the only road forward or back, love is the only answer. It can't be harder than that.
So hopefully in that song you can see how I've employed the same strategy there that we've been talking about. The tonic chord is present both in the verses and the choruses, but completely avoided in the pre-chorus. And that helps the pre-chorus build tension, which then helps to deliver the chorus in a much more powerful and impactful way. And so really what we're actually talking about when we're talking about building tension in a pre-chorus, it's a secret way round to actually talking about how to write great choruses, right? Because really what the pre-chorus is there to do is to serve up the chorus.
And that's why we're focusing on chords in this particular video, because it is one of those really easy ways to create that natural contrast, to create that energy just before the chorus.
Exactly. So keep in mind, the pre-chorus is not just the bit before the chorus, it's the bit that creates tension before the chorus. And the greater your level of tension, the more power and impact your chorus is going to have. So I hope that that's helpful. We'll see you soon.